Okay, for people joining this live stream, we are talking about various sound and vision, audio and video functionality for upcoming version of Wolfram language. Let's see, where are we starting here? We had already done some of this, but let's, what can we, please tell me where to start. Should we maybe look at import export for a minute first?
Yeah, we didn't look at that at all.
Right, let's start with that, and then let's go back, loop back to the further discussion of the audio video stuff. Make sense?
Great.
Okay. Tell the zoom to 100.
You have your docs updated?
Since
There have
when?
been some updates in the afternoon.
Okay.
Examples and stuff.
To let these run. Okay, so let's start talking through this. Okay, so some of these are, okay, these are just element types, metadata, and so on, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to have an obsolete page. We're going to have an obsolete format page for these things pointing to the other versions, yes?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, that's a new thing to have obsolete format pages, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They're already in, if you want to look at them.
I don't think I need to. I mean, okay, where am I starting here?
PDF new.
So I have to go to
other formats.
Format pages, get format page, PDF new. Okay, what's the main thing I'm looking at here?
The excluded note summarizes all that's coming.
This note here, the futurized piece, or this thing here?
No, the excluded note.
Okay. 29 elements, more metadata, more robust and complete embedded images. So you're saying if I take a random paper from archive or something, I will get something reasonable imported. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Can I try it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm trying it in the prototype build?
Yeah.
I think one new thing was that what was there was not, in the current version of PDF at all.
Vector graphics. We rely on our previous vector graphics in this new converter as well, but we're positive we can get updated vector graphics in 12.2 as well.
I'm sorry, updated vector graphics as in, what do you mean by vector graphics there?
So
vector
PDF,
graphics import.
Yeah, PDF used to get imported as graphics, as vector graphics. And we are defaulting now to images because we haven't updated graphics, which we called pages element before. I'm saying we are positive we can update that as well in the timeline for 12.2. If we don't, we still rely on whatever we had before for vector graphics, but we are defaulting to the image element, which is rasterizing the pages.
Okay, so I'm going to import a random paper that I just found. So I could just say here, import of this random paper, comma, what do I say, PDF new?
No, just say just that will give you a set of rasterized images. Yep.
Oh, that's quite nice. Did that work before?
We had a very large failure rate before.
That's really nice.
Yep.
Okay, now what else can I do?
Plain text, table of contents, which is called contents graph. Embedded images, attachments.
Okay, hold on. So if I say plain text here, that's nice, and it's quite zippy too.
Yep.
I'm excited here.
You can
now,
say
of course, the math
text.
It was completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I thought it was PostScript first. I thought it was sort of, the underlying PostScript first, but it wasn't. It's the math.
Yeah. Sorry, what else can I say?
Plain text list is going to chunk this up into different pages. So you'll get a list of strings.
Do we want to say plain text list or plain text pages?
either one. And you can ask for just one page in a list, say plain text list or.
I think we should call it plain text pages.
Okay.
Brian on our live stream is asking, how well does the plain text work with PDF documents with multiple columns?
It all depends on how it's laid out in the PDF itself. If it is laid out so that the first column is first, we're going to get it correct. If it's not, PDF is very wild in what can be stored in it. It's just going to go in the sequence that content is stored in the PDF.
Do you think it should be plain text pages rather than plain text list? I think it'll be slightly clearer.
Then do we want image pages instead of image list?
No. All right, leave it as plain text list. So what? So if I say image list here, what is this?
That's the default to what you just got.
Oh, okay, fine. So what are the other things I can ask for?
With this one, I don't see embedded images or attachments, but those are also, you
What's
may want to
embedded
get,
images? How do I ask for embedded images?
just ask for embedded images as an element, but I don't see, oh, I see one image there.
Embedded images like that?
Yes.
No, okay.
Attachments, maybe this is stored as an attachment.
Yeah, I'm sure there won't be any. And the table of contents, how did that work?
Contents graph gives you a graph object.
That's funky. What the heck is this?
A graph object.
My God.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
What the heck is that?
This is a graph object with specified vertex edge styles that are not shown and vertex placement that kind of looks like a table of contents.
So if I do vertex list, or if I
vertex list or vertex count and things like that, it works. You can traverse that tree however you want.
It's cool. I don't know what those ID, by the way, ID is surely capital I, capital D.
Sure.
Right. Various people on the live stream are pointing out that what you're calling image lists should really be called page images, because that's what it is.
Okay.
Okay. So if that's called page images, and that would go with embedded images. I like that. Right?
Yep.
Page images and embedded images. So then
plain text list, you want plain text pages or no? Page plain text, you said?
I would think the consistent thing would be pages plain text. Plain text would be the whole plain text, and then pages plain text would be the one on a page by page basis.
Okay. And then page images or pages image?
No. Page
images. Yep. Okay.
Page images. Oh, I see. Page images. Okay, I agree. Page plain text. Page images. Page plain text. Stuff. How do we deal with this? What should we call this? Page texts. I don't like that very much. Well, I could go with plain text list for this. I'm not sure. Roger, do you have an opinion?
Yeah, I think plain text.
No. We're asking this case. The case.
No, I got it. Text. I'm just thinking.
Okay.
If we're not using list anywhere else, it feels a little plain text pages.
Yeah, it's a little weird because it's page images and plain text pages.
I know.
Page plain text instead of pages plain text.
English-wise, it seems very weird.
Page plain text. Paged plain text. That's weird going with this. Look, I think given the little autocomplete, he says, pages, plain text.
Mhm.
Yeah, Peltieri on our live stream is suggesting textual pages, but that's not going to, that would again have the word pages at the end. Pages, plain text. Oh gosh. I don't know. It's a minor thing, but we might as well get it right. Let's say pages, plain text. Okay. All right. This is wonderful. This is really cool.
One other probably important new thing that is coming is form fields, where you have forms that you could have hundreds of forms that are filled. You can get the raw form without all the fillings, or you could get the fillings as well. You could get highlights. You could get, these are, I think, going to be great for automated analysis of.
Yeah. Okay. So look, you've got a bunch of these things here which are render. That's a weird option name.
This is specifically for that. Do we want to render the highlights, the annotations, form fields, and stuff when we import as an image, or do we want to remove or not include all of those? See, the settings for render could be a list of annotations and form fields.
Don't we have a thing, some kind of option that is rendering something or other? Look at that. We have a thing called rendering options. What do you know? That's a little weird to use, but not completely crazy. What do you think?
The name is not crazy at all, but the ref page would have to be completely redone. And all of these settings should be moved to style and cell and related functions.
Yeah. Well, okay, but I don't think render.
No, but I don't think Stephen meant that it should be rendering options. It's totally different. I don't think he meant that. Well, it's just what the use of render, that word,
right.
Render.
But I mean, so
we do have include something as
okay,
an option.
but this really is rendered elements, arrow, annotations, form fields, all, right?
I like that. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. Question from Brian on our live stream. What is the definition of plain text? Is it UTF-8 or ASCII or what?
We don't have character encoding or anything here. I don't know what we imported as.
We probably should think about that. We should think about the character encoding.
Probably have to think about that.
Yep.
That's a good thought. What's it?
In our benchmark, Shadi, do we have any sort of like Cyrillic PDFs or something like that?
We do, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Sandra on live stream is pointing out the rendering options could be like method, totally different for each function. I agree. I think that's sort of the future. And something we should think about, but I don't think we have to cross that bridge specifically for PDF import. I'm very excited that we have PDF import now. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if I take this innate and I say image trim? Is that going to do what I expect?
Image crop, you mean? Do you want to get?
I want to get the area that I care about. Oh, wow. That's so cool. Great. And now, what is the rendering? We rendered this, right? So what is our rendering resolution?
Could be specified as a raster size.
We should. We absolutely should.
One thing we discussed just earlier today is to get the page size and rasterize at the specified page size in the PDF. But already you should be able to say rast. Yeah, sorry.
What is that? This is. Okay, that's not bad.
Not bad at all.
No. Except for the amplitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, what are you saying about raster size here?
We can specify. Basically, you can specify the raster size at the import level, and your resolution will be higher. Whatever size pixel dimensions you specify can
but we also probably want image resolution, don't we?
We can do that as well. Yes.
I think we should do that. Both of those should be.
It's gonna be similar to rasterize. You can specify either the resolution or raster size.
It should be just like rasterize.
Yep.
Brian is asking what kind of metadata is accessible from PDF.
By the way, apparently image resolution is already supported as well.
Okay. So what kind of metadata is there here?
For which one? I think the question was about
No, there's a different question about MP3, but for PDF.
For PDF, it's already on your page. Things like author, creation date, creator, keywords, and so forth.
But where? I don't see it
on the top of your page. That first table.
Okay, but so how do I get that? How do I get all the metadata? I think
when meta information is grouped, we are introducing a meta information element, which gives an association of all metadata. We haven't done it in cases. Why don't we just call it
metadata? Why don't we just call the thing metadata?
I would love to do that rename. We have an option called meta information as well.
I know that, but let's leave that for now.
Okay.
I think we put that in there because we're not, but I think we should support metadata here that just provides an association of all metadata elements.
Okay.
Okay. Just an association of these creatures here. Okay.
And should we propagate that to many other formats?
I think so. And I think we should review the possibility of changing the meta information thing to support, to be metadata.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That was a piece of good news with PDF. Okay. Can we go back? Okay, we're going to go down the rest of this list.
Quickly on MP3 metadata, IV3 is supported already. I guess it was supported a few versions ago.
So, okay. All right, fine. Okay, moving down here, updated export. What's updated about? Do I need to look at this? What's updated about that?
Not necessarily. It just works now. Smooth and great.
So if I take my random universe model, I can export it as DICOM. Is that right?
Yep.
So I mean, if I take, for example, if I say something like what's a good surface that I can easily get? Trivially would get some surface. I don't know. Name a surface, guys. Roger, name a surface. Somebody else here.
I don't know, a boy surface.
Is it boy or boy's surface? Oh, for goodness sake.
Now, what do you expect from this to be exported into the DICOM? It's not going to be a sliced 3D volume stored in the DICOM. It's going to be the rasterized version of that.
Okay, but if I say export to DICOM of this.
Mm-hmm. File, comma, DICOM.
Yeah, and I don't think I have a DICOM reader, so this isn't very useful. But you're saying I will get a bone that's this shape. Is that correct? A bone that is a rasterized version of this shape.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. What is HEIF?
It's the format that is very widely used now by phones, Apple and other formats. Right. It's the .HEIF typically.
Okay. The one thing that's interesting is that it actually, it stores it. It has a depth image.
Oh yeah, I guess I knew that. So,
and also, we were talking about.
Is it like in an alpha channel? Is the depth like an alpha channel?
It's a single. It's a scalar value image. Yes, but it's not quite the alpha channel. You don't use it as you do. You use alpha channel. It's really an estimate of how far pixels are in the image.
In what unit?
Actually, I don't know. I think it depends on how the reconstruction happens on different phones. It's not a 0-to-1 scale. Typically,
so if I simply upload if I send myself email, if I take a picture and I send myself email, what will it be by default, an HEIF file or what?
It depends on your phone settings as well. For sharing purposes, you can say you want to send JPEG or you want to say high efficient format.
I see. So in other words, if I take a picture, I could get a depth map from my regular iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. By the way, we should have a workflow that explains how to do that.
Sure.
The other thing that's interesting that these ones have basically little animations. They take a sequence of images.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Right. Can we get those?
Yeah. So we're thinking that we should, if we introduce the animation object, the animated image object that we were going to talk about above here, then we could import those as animated images.
That would be wonderful. Excellent idea.
Now, the interesting thing about HEIF is that it can also include an audio track, which then I guess we have to import as a video object that could have an audio track as well, because or maybe our animated image could be capable of storing audio. One of the two.
But isn't EXIF all caps?
No, we have. I guess I've seen this spelling
of it. I mean,
elsewhere.
Don't we have? Can you check elsewhere that we're doing it with mixed case? Okay, depth image here. So, can I export a depth image as well?
We don't have export of HEIF at all.
I see.
Once we have it, yes.
Okay, what are these things here?
Additional elements around depth image. It's typically smaller size than the original image that is stored, so it would be useful to get the image size of that image.
How would we sort of map it onto the image?
Resized. It's typically resized.
Okay, but maybe we want to be able to return an element which is the combined depth, depth image at the correct size, so that you can composite it as an alpha channel, or even as an alpha channel.
Well, you have once also proposed something like a depth encoded image object. Yes. That's what you said as well. I'm suggesting we wait on that and we experiment with importing depth image separately, working with it until we produce a full-on new object.
Fine.
But I agree with you that the same size depth image might be a useful element to import.
Fine. Or yeah.
Maybe with some option like raster size full or all.
Well, where's the raster size going? Because that's if it's just you don't want to be importing twice. I would say
no, you would resize, right?
I would just call it depth image resized or something.
Okay.
Okay. Although that suggests that it's been resized, because I wouldn't have guessed that the depth image was not the same size as the original image.
So maybe depth image should be this. I see. Otherwise, we could do depth image that is the full size and depth image original size or something.
I don't know what's more useful.
Examples that we have, recall we have examples in net repository where we estimate the depth. You typically want to list plot 3D the surface. So many points are going to be too much for visualization as well. So in a sense, the smaller resolution is good.
Okay, so depth image full size might be a reasonable way to do it.
Okay. Lowercase s or uppercase?
I think lowercase, but I'm not sure.
They're two separate words, so they want to be hyphenated in this situation. So grammatically speaking, it would make sense to be uppercase.
All right. Okay. Comments from our live stream. Sandra says you can do video, live photos on iPhones. Yes, that's what we're talking about. How would we access the depth info in a HEIF image? Do we have to tear apart the pixels manually? Is there an easy way to strip out the depth info? That's what this is suggesting, that if you import the element depth image, you will just get the depth data.
Exactly.
Let's see. What about importing? Ali asks, what about importing TIFF image stacks, XY time or XYZ time, that have 2 or more channels with a time? It's pretty common data for bioimaging and microscopy, he says.
We do have multi-frame TIFFs. If time
what an
is
image
different,
stack.
yeah, then we have it. It just comes back. If time is different frames.
Okay.
That's what we have already.
Do we call them image stacks? Because I've certainly heard them called image stacks. Do we have that as a documentation word?
No. As a keyword,
yes.
I can check, but as an element, we call it image list there.
I see. Well, let's just make sure that there's nothing about tagging, for example, a metadata tag for the sub-elements for that stack.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. XMP metadata import improvement. Do I need to look at this? Is this going to get some wild story of different weird metadata fields?
No.
Like GPS altitude, GPS longitude, GPS latitude, GPS date time. Okay, fine.
Those were standard ones in EXIF. They're all very typical and common. XMP on the other side can be very wild, but we contain all of them under XMP.
I see. Okay, fine. Okay. EMF and WMF. Isn't EMF something to do with EEG or something? What is that?
No. It's a Windows system format. It's an expanded version of WMF.
Okay, so we're killing both of these.
Yeah, that's not ours, but they are image formats. Front end is dropping them from export packet. No way they're going to continue.
That's
supporting.
Flash.
That is Flash, and Flash Player is gonna go obsolete as of end of 2020.
Okay. So what's your point? I mean, why shouldn't we continue to be able to import Flash?
I think the point is that we're going to continue having the capability. We are again marking the pages as obsolete to suggest that we're not maintaining these anymore.
I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. If Flash is frozen, Flash will go on being able to import Flash, and it's useful. There'll be Flash around for millions of years. I wouldn't mark it as obsolete. Why would we mark it as obsolete? If the format is frozen, our code is going to keep working, almost certainly.
I think the most useful thing here is to even recommend people to convert their Flash files into something like MP4.
You can say that, but we can have a new weird kind of stripe. If you're using this kind of file, you probably don't want to go on using it. But it's not the page is obsolete, because Flash that was created 20 years ago, we still want to be able to import. See what I'm saying?
Importer for SWF we never had. We're not getting it through. Both of these were export only formats.
Okay, fine. Okay, then I agree. Obsolete them. Yes, I agree.
However, FLV we can now import through FFmpeg. And I'm suggesting the very first example is that if you have FLV, just convert it to MP4.
Fine. So I wouldn't obsolete FLV then. I would only obsolete SWF and say in the
now the importer is coming through video format, which is a catch-all registered format.
I understand, but so
what? FLV exporter again. I think FLV
I know we're deprecating the export, but we're keeping. Now we have the ability to import, which is going to continue to be relevant because people are going to continue to have Flash files.
Okay, now, you're suggesting we add FLV to $import formats then?
That's what I'm suggesting.
I'll have to check if it goes through. Perhaps we can register it. Okay. If there is any technical issues, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I guess we can do it.
Don't these zip-ish files nowadays have passwords?
Yes.
And where is that password?
The plan is to put them under authentication option because they may live on a server and you may want to include a username and password for the server.
Yeah, right,
as well.
What you want to be able to do is to use the system credentials.
Exactly.
Right. So an authentication arrow, the main authentication option supported here, right?
Not yet.
Okay, but it will.
Yes.
What is the file extension for this Facebook compression thing?
ZSTD.
Well, then that's what we should call this. Don't call it zstandard. Just call it. I mean, standard is just call it zstd, just like every other format we have.
The format is still called zstandard.
I don't care. I mean, look, we're naming all these things by essentially by their file extension. Let's just follow that, zstd. Okay.
All caps.
Well, what's everything else done? I mean, JPEG is not all caps always.
Well, the way we register the format is all caps JPEG. I guess zstd all caps is going to be fine. Yeah,
I think it's fine. You can have zstandard as an alternate if you want to.
Sure.
Dataset export to these. What about dataset import? We've had that already, right?
We had that, yeah. This
what about our project to dramatically speed up these imports?
For
XLS.
The CSV discussion?
Yes.
Not for 12.2, but we are looking at, well, we did some benchmarks, some timings for CSV.
Okay.
We're going to get back to it.
To me, that's an important thing, right?
XLS is, yeah, I understand. XLS is already fast. CSV is the one that we questioned in the mailing list discussion.
Okay, all right, well, fine. It needs, all of those basic formats need to be very fast.
Yep.
Okay, why is protobuf internal only?
We can make it, it's just extra work to make it external, get it registered and all of that. We can make it.
I think we should. I think it's useful.
Yep, fine. Not 12.2, I suppose, but yeah, we can put it on the list.
Right. Ben on the live stream is thanking you for dataset export in XLS. Ian on the live stream is saying that speeding up CSV import will be great.
Yep.
Okay. Have I looked at the thread analysis for Mbox before?
You have, but unfortunately, I think this is another one that has to wait until post 12.2. But the elements we discussed in, I don't know, maybe an LCC meeting.
Okay. What is this also planned for 12.2? This is just other
stuff that may make it. Mat importer may make it into 12.2. OpenEXR.
Okay, all right, fine. Okay, let's go back to the rest of the agenda. You may want to look at
file format though. Import with URL, you don't need to look at. File format is getting a second argument, which,
yes,
again, file format new is the one you want to look at.
All right, second argument, what is it doing?
This is mainly for significant speed improvement. Current file format, no second argument, has to go through 200 formats to check if it's one of the formats that we have registered. If you give it a single format or a list of formats, we just check for those and return those that match.
Fine. Or you return a failure object if it doesn't.
And none currently.
I wonder whether in this case here you should return a failure object.
And what about the third syntax? In the third syntax, you really want a list of format I's that match.
If none of them match, you're saying you would return a null list or whatever.
currently we return none in both cases if there is no match.
I don't think that's quite right, because I think this case, you're checking, is this compatible with this format before you read it in?
But it's not still returning a Boolean. It returns format if it matches. Is this a JPEG? It returns JPEG again.
Yeah, all right.
We had an internal file format queue that we wanted to bring up to system, and we thought this might be an okay alternative.
I mean, I'm wondering why file format queue isn't the better thing, because it's the code is going to be cleaner that way. File format queue of source comma format, true, false. And in this case here, is this really a thing?
It's really useful to say, is this an image format? Is this one of JPEG, PNG, GIF?
Well, but that I think is a different question.
That's that would be again maybe a file format queue. You're right.
I think so, which is file format queue of source comma quotes image or source comma the actual symbol image. Is this an image format?
Mm-hmm.
I think file format queue is a better idea than this.
Now, if you scroll down to examples, there are examples where we have gzipped files. That one you have under the format subsection. It is a gzip. It is also a 3ds.
Fine. That's fine, because if I'd said import of this as a 3ds, it would work, right? The importer knows to go through the gzip.
Mm-hmm. It does, yes. Yes,
okay.
It does.
Fine. Then I think that's okay. I think it should be file format queue. Now, here, I don't mind this case here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the singleton version of that would then just return a null list if it doesn't match, right? The singleton version of that would be equivalent to a singleton list here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Makes sense. And then you still want a file format queue?
I do.
That returns
yes, I
a
think
Boolean?
it's useful. I think it's useful. With a second argument that can be things like image, graph, graphics, whatever.
Oh, okay. That's gonna be a bigger project. You want format categories in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to get that for 12.2.
And
I don't think either
there might be also formats that live in very many categories, but yeah, okay.
Who cares?
We can look into
all you're asking is it importable as an image with the image element?
Yep, I understand.
Sander is asking why not true false with several in association. I don't think it's necessary. I think you can just map over the thing. It's gonna try it in all these different ways anyway. It's not doing anything magical, right? It's not got a giant finite state machine where it's testing off many things in parallel, right? Okay, there's a question here about spatial formats, shapefiles, and GeoJSON. I think we have shapefiles and GeoJSON. But that's not this meeting. Roger, can you confirm that?
Yes, we do. And it's not for 12.2, but we have been gearing up for kind of a major push on the geo formats. So I think hopefully the version after 12.2 will see a major uptick and update both.
Okay. Ali is asking, what's after 12.2? Is it 12.3 or 13?
That's a good question.
It's a good question, yes. There's a question here from TZ. Are XML imports requiring XSD schema? I don't know what that completely means.
I don't
know. Okay. I mean, we have that. Okay, let's go to the rest of the agenda here. I know with file format, what was the thing that we were doing with machine learning and so on? with file formats. Was that? Oh no, that was for character encodings. There's a question here: are step files supported? I don't know what those are.
It's coming. It may make it for 12.2.
What are they?
They are a CAD format.
Okay.
They're sort of geometric CAD. So it's a very rich format, actually.
Okay, where did we get to last time in going through this?
You looked at most of the video functions and skimmed through audio and image.
Okay, let's look at, okay. So, I got convinced last time about this video generator name. I really would like to actually, well, I think I got convinced. I'd really like to try it a bit, but we're not going to have time for that today. These are the names we discussed last time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's the names we discussed are not here. I guess we say
okay.
record
so
video.
the animation object, animated image. Where do we have that? Oh, there we go. Animated image.
One second before we
Yep.
we get there. For video, the track selections, you suggested we call them video track selection, audio track selection, and so forth. I think that's fine. We didn't finalize how we're gonna save a video that has some selection options in it into a new video. The team thinks that it's not necessary even to get that. Export and import workflow might be just fine. But if you really want a function that does that.
Hold on. So that's if once I've made a selection, save the selection, which is only a piece of metadata effectively on top of the actual video, right?
Correct.
So the issue is if I put a bunch of edit marks into my video, do I maintain those edit marks for the next time I come back, or do I have to redo them? I'd really like to maintain the edit marks. Why can't I?
Maintain in a sense to export it into a new file?
Hold on, just so we're on the same page.
Sure.
The discussion we had last time. So the thing is that videos can come with multiple video tracks, multiple audio tracks, and multiple subtitle tracks. And so the selections basically pick which one. Because the workflow, that streamlined workflow we've made is sort of you pick one video, one audio, one subtitle. We don't do sort of the multi version, generally speaking.
You pick one for what purpose? For doing a video map or something?
Yes, if you do video map, you pick the first one or the one that's selected.
By the way, has it your technology that's being used here to do those video frame lists that are now in, I don't know whether they're yet deployed, but that are coming? Was that done with all this stuff?
I think so.
Let's see if I can even find one. Let's see if it's here. That's not yet here. It's very beautiful. It's very, very beautiful.
What are you guys talking about?
The live stream.
Yeah, the live stream archive.
Summaries.
Oh, yes.
I'll show you this. Have you seen that, Roger?
No, I haven't.
Let me try and pull one up here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, it's here. Why am I not finding it? Look at this. Isn't this cool?
Yeah. That's pretty
super
nice.
Useful. That's stupid, but that's okay. It has some kind of mechanism here for scrolling through it. I don't know whether this is a standard thing that we're providing for the scroll through. And then when you click on this, it will go to the appropriate place in the YouTube video.
Oh.
Isn't that super cool?
It is super cool.
We should provide some way to actually export this exact object so that people can do this. At least a function repository function to do that.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of other features too. But yeah,
okay.
So the discussion we had last time was that we wanted these options, for you to be able to sort of point to that. But then you said, but how do I get rid of all the other things? How do I make it a video with only those things in, with the other things removed? Is how I understood your question.
Well, hold on a second. So what is the thing we're saying? We're saying these are video tracks as an option.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which selects which tracks I want to be talking about in this video. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now what is the question?
So the question was, you said I don't want the options there. I want it to sort of be converted to a video with only those things in it. And so we said, well, you don't need to, but you can always do export and import, and you didn't like that particularly. And the question is, how often do you need to do that or want to do that operation?
Sorry, just 1 second. I'm just looking at a calendar thing here. Oh, by the way, internal person says, Avery, who's on the live stream, says that comments that they used form pages to generate the HTML code for all of the pods that we have here. That's very cool.
Nice. So it's really dog fooding all the way.
Yes, it's full dog food. Okay. Okay, sorry. Could you repeat what you were saying? I lost track here, so to speak.
Okay. So the operation. So given a video object with these options set, does there need to be a separate function that converts it to a video object without any of those options?
I see, where it's been burnt in.
Yes.
I thought we had some whole burn-in mechanism. Remember what happens when you give a video selection, right? I mean, if I do a video split, I will actually get, what do I get?
Actually get it. You know, it doesn't store it. It's not lazy. You know, it's not lazy, store it and sort of replace it later.
The general principle is if it's a noun, it's lazy. If it's a verb, it just does it. Right?
Really?
We don't really have any lazy. I mean,
okay, you don't have lazy stuff here. You have, but this means it's still pointing to the same video file, but it's saying it's got something on top of it that says we're taking this part of the video file. Is that correct?
Video split is actually gonna write the content into new files.
Okay, fine.
And new set of files.
Okay, so then all of those things do that.
All of those things do that. All of those.
But the selection options don't.
Where are the selection options?
The ones
selections are
you mean the options?
Options, yes.
Well, how do I get just the first? How do I get? Look, if I want the audio from the video, I say audio of the video object. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, if I want track 7, but I don't want track 2, what do I do?
Video, uppercase video of your video object, comma, video tracks goes to 7. Or video track selection.
Okay, but so no, video tracks, right? Or is it video tracks?
It's video tracks now, but you're suggesting a rename to track selection for all of those.
Yes, I think so. Yes, please change it to track selection. Otherwise, it's the wrong thing. Otherwise, it's Okay, so what you're saying is you can get just that by saying video of the video, comma, video track selection, arrow 7, for example, right?
Yes. And now this is going to be lazy.
But
your
that's
request.
Fine, but my request was to make a non-lazy version of this.
Right.
Right. Do we actually need that?
No, I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, you tell, I'll care if people like Avery come back and say they're burning huge amounts of disk space on things that don't make any sense. But absent that, I don't care.
Okay, great.
Okay, that's good because we spent a lot of time in the team discussing it and we couldn't figure out why we need it.
Okay, terrific. I'm not going to push it. Okay.
We can always get it later if we discover it.
Right. Yes. Okay, that's what I'm suggesting. Generated data destination.
Again, the name is not something that internally is being liked. I don't know if we want to rediscuss the name
here. This one?
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry. This was about many different things, right?
Yes.
If somebody's got a better suggestion that fits all those objectives, then we'll listen to it.
Right. No, well, no, I don't think
I
we
think
have
it
a
rolls off your tongue.
It
It's
does.
listen, it rolls in what sense? I don't know. But it's got
No, it's
alliteration
okay.
like that.
Say it a couple of times.
Generated data destination. It's a little difficult, yes, but it's okay because it's a very internal thing. And you know, I think here, yeah, tag it as experimental, okay? In case we need to change it. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one from Sander. What about a video compose analogous to image compose, like adding a logo to a video?
That's gonna go under video frame map, where you can frame by frame burn something into frames.
I see. So it will be an image compose frame by frame.
Yes. I thought about how much of these video functions that do something frame by frame we want. And I think at least the way to go 12.2 is to have these generic mapping filtering functions.
Yeah, I think it's right for now. And if it turns out there's something that's just a really common thing to want to do,
we will get it later.
Right. Okay. Yeah, IC is suggesting a track selection arrow, video arrow 1, audio arrow 2. I don't think so quite, because I think that that's going to be that you can get multiple video tracks and all kinds of crazy things like that. Okay, where do we go next? What's this video confirm? Have the same properties.
That's the conform images, conform audio, analog.
Wait a minute, that's conform.
Conform.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's the analog of what other functions?
Conform audio and conform images. I explained last time, conforming video is some known term when you run your prototype or your workflow on lower resolution video, and then you want to do the same operation on full resolution. That process is called conforming the video. Basically conforming the whole process that you have defined on the full resolution.
Well, what does this do? What does conform video properties do?
This is just going to make properties of a list of video objects conform. So all the same raster size, all the same frame rate, and so forth.
Sorry. Say that again. What?
You're going to conform your video objects to have similar properties, such as same raster size, same frame rate.
And why is that different from what you said when you said, you know, take the edited thing at low resolution and apply that editing to the higher resolution thing? Is that why is that so different from this operation?
This operation is defined on multiple videos that you would like to make similar, to have similar properties.
But the other one is a unary operation where it's saying, in a sense, I've got this template video that's low resolution edited video with certain metadata on it, and I want to apply that metadata to the full resolution video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't understand why that's such a different operation.
Doesn't seem that different. I mean, it's more unidirect. I mean, it's like you want to take from the low to the high a particular thing. So when you give several images or several audio and so on, there's a certain standardization that's applied, you know, on which direction things coerce or conform.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily like the first one applies to all the later ones.
By the way, Ali on our live stream is saying awesome stuff to Shadi for this video, I think. Good. But
I'm also not sure, Shadi, I mean, last time we discussed this, we were sort of a little bit unsure whether we know what conform video is going to need to do yet.
As far as defaults?
Yeah. Okay, so Flip on our live stream, who I know knows lots about video, is commenting that the terminology is conform the video from proxy, apparently, where the proxy is the low res form.
Right.
So in other words, what that is it's taking let's see. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. So first of all, let's take conform image. Conform images, is that right? Conform images. What does that do? It takes a list of images and it conforms them all to what?
Same size, same
No,
color
I
space.
understand that, but to what does it use as the template?
As far as, well, you can specify in the spec what you want to get back, but by default, as for bit depth and color space, we get the largest common or the smallest common property. For the size, it's a median computation. We don't get the largest, we get some median size.
All right, so one of the possibilities would be, you've got a spec argument here. Why not have something where you say conform video, and you've got the video that you're trying to conform and the proxy. The proxy is the spec. In other words, use a video as the spec. And here, for the spec argument, what are you able to use for the spec argument? Why don't you just be able to put an image as the spec argument here, and then you've got something consistent?
Isn't that the first one in the first table?
Oh, yes, it is.
The way I understand conforming from a proxy is that you have a process that you would like to run. So it's kind of a conform video, comma, filter graph, or video, comma, the whole pipeline, the function, not video, comma, proxy.
I see. Yeah, Flip is commenting on video editing. There's usually a project setting for the full resolution, which is what you're basically saying.
Yep.
Yeah, I am interested here. I just some comments on a live stream from Ali talking about promoting our image stuff, but complaining that graphs can be improved. We'd like to hear what you think can be improved with graphs. And yeah, we're working on computational geometry. Valued customer, interesting name, is talking about image-related functionality, hoping for performance improvements with list animate. I believe that's what animated image is supposed to do. Animated image should be the dramatically, but between video and animated image. Okay, explain the difference between animated image and video.
The current version of animated image is all in core. We can eventually have an out of core version of that. I guess we should wait until frontend has library link support, so that for display purposes, we just send data directly from the file to the frontend rather than it routed through the kernel.
Sorry, for which?
For animated image. Animated image of a
So
file.
the prototype for animated image right now is actually using dynamics. So it's not the spiffy thing that we expect to have eventually.
Right. What is the time frame for library link in the front end?
John says 12.2, we're going to get it, but towards the end of the cycle, I doubt we can build an efficient video GUI or anything else with that for 12.2. But that,
okay,
anything can be
but that
done
will
with
come
it
soon thereafter, right? So we can have it an experimental, animated image as an experimental thing in 12.2. Where in particular, we can take animated image of a GIF file, yes?
Yes.
Or animated PNG and so on. Or HEIF.
Yeah, that's really useful. It's really useful. That's a much more lightweight version of so the way that we specified is animated image of file of such and such .gif, yes?
Eventually, yes. Currently, it's animated image of import of file, which gives you a list of images back. So it's animated image of list of images. It's documented if you want to look at it.
I think we should support the pure file case, even though it's doing something rather uninteresting right now.
Okay, and import the file, the frame. Sure. Sure.
I think we should do that. Yeah, we should say animated image of a file there.
Sure.
Okay.
And you say experimental until it has proper file support and typesetting?
I think so. What's wrong with its typesetting?
Well, but what I was saying, it could get faster.
Typesetting is the player.
Yep.
Okay, but doesn't it have
it's dynamic back now?
Yeah, okay, fine. But it does have a stop button and things like that. So that's not.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we built that on top of dynamic. But it will be guaranteed spiffy.
I wonder whether that's, yeah, I understand. I wonder whether the idea of a stop button like that is useful for dynamics in general. I wonder whether it should be an option to dynamic to put that, to include that in the dynamic rendering. I think it should be. Should talk to John about that.
Might not be clear where to put it, Stephen. It can be anywhere on the whole notebook. Where would you put the?
What do you mean? No,
For
I mean
any dynamic, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
any
any dynamic. I'm talking about any dynamic. I'm saying that any dynamic would have a pause button on it.
It could just be very small, the object itself.
Yeah,
if
I
it's
understand
not.
it could be small, in which case it is what it is, right?
Yep.
I think it's a good idea. I think it would be a good, it would prevent a bunch of crazy dynamics that are just burning through CPU, doing nothing useful.
Should I pass it on to John?
Please.
Okay.
I think it would also be interesting if switching off dynamics, disabling dynamics, caused all of the dynamics to have those stop buttons on them.
That's probably something for when we have a notebook toolbar, right?
Well, we already have, in the evaluation menu, stop dynamics, yes. So my suggestion would be to bring up, if you stop dynamics, that every dynamic gets a pause button in it.
And then you want something globally for a notebook that pause or stop all dynamics.
There already is.
Yeah, there's already the pause
that would
dynamics.
Kill all of the dynamics. Can we pause them? Wouldn't that be more useful to
yes,
pause?
It would be more useful. It would be. So I think you should show this to John, suggest a pause dynamics, suggest possibly changing the dynamic disabled. I mean, dynamic disabled is the same as pausing the dynamics. But what I'm saying is dynamic disabled in the menu should cause all the dynamics to display, maybe with a pause button on them, so that you can re-enable one at a time. So you're not, if there's one dynamic that's burning everything, right, that you just disable everything and you go back and you re-enable the dynamic you actually want to see.
Yep.
Okay, so some questions on our live stream here from Sander. What does video resample do if you go from 24 frames per second to 25?
There are basically resampling frame rate change algorithms. Simplest ones are taking nearest neighbors, but there are interpolation routines as well. Many methods proposed in the literature. We're going to be having the simplest one, 12.2, but it could be extended with a method option later on.
So basically, it's going to just work, is the basic point. Okay. Question from Honor here. Why not annotated GIFs which allow tunneling to other GIFs on the go? What is an annotated GIF? I don't know. Do you know what that is, Shadi?
No.
We should look it up. Don't know. Let's see. There's a question here about, I just have to respond to, which is, it's about pan and zoom for 2D plots. Can we demo it? And do you know? Is it working here yet? It's coming in 12.2. I don't know whether it's working here. Nope, nothing interesting. There will be a toolbar.
Is that with the toolbar?
Yeah, it's with a toolbar.
Cool.
Who's working on that?
Noah, perhaps?
Noah is working on a drawing toolbar. This is it's come out of the John Pacey Brett effort that initially was in the cloud. It was first implemented in the cloud.
Okay.
And you should check into it. I mean, I think it's on course. Who knows what these are? Okay, let's go back over here. So I want to talk through this thing about projects, video projects, and so on. Okay. So, and this question about video conform. So let me understand the issue. So I mean, you're saying that I'm actually really confused all around. Okay. If I say video trim, video whatever, video, all these things, these are not lazy. They just get done, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So how am I storing? I don't have a good way, because they're not lazy. I don't have a good way to store my sequence of operations that I did on the proxy video that I can then apply to the full video.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the right way to handle that?
A filter graph. And that's not going to be a 12.2 feature.
But what does it mean? What does it mean? What is a filter graph?
Filter graph is just a directly dicyclic graph that says, do these operations and they can depend on each other.
But I don't understand. Look, it's like a neural net framework or something where we have a whole, mechanism for representing a series of operations that are done, with neural net layers. And that's an alternative to actually having a program, f of g of h of x. It's this, it's this thing where we basically have a list of layers. What are you talking about here?
Well, a DAG or a filter graph is a program that has no.
I understand, but this is a general issue.
It.
I mean, I understand, but this is a general issue that if we have, f of g of h, and we're going to be, whatever it is, I don't know what the thing would be, right composition of this, of x or something. That's not what I wanted. Oh, I see. I don't need those. Right? Things like that. But I'm confused.
But it's a little bit more complicated, right? Because the none of these sort of composition functions deal with multivariate functions in a significant way.
No, I understand that. We've done this in the neural net framework. It's a big, complicated, hairy mess, right? And what we've done here, is nice functional, function-based operations.
Sure.
And I'm confused about. I mean, I don't understand.
I don't think we have a striking design to look at this point.
But I want to get an idea. I mean, because what we could have is a pure function. I mean, essentially, this is like compilation in some sense. You're going to build up a pure function. You're going to do a bunch of things in your notebook. Blah 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 blah, right? Then you're going to want to say, but actually, I want to apply things on lines 12 to 17. I want to package them all together, and I want to apply them to my full resolution video, right? So I would argue that the right way to do that is to have a suggestions bar type thing that picks up all those pieces that you put on lines 12 through 17, packages them together, and gives you back a pure function, which you then apply to the full video. And then you're not changing any operations here. You're just doing the exact same things we already have. Am I confused?
No, the thing that we can do, I think we need, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and it doesn't seem like a bad idea to sort of play this, make it a playable thing. But for filter graphs, particularly in audio, and I think video too, we have sort of the notion of them working in real time, which means that they're going to do a little bit of operations
at a time,
on chunks.
So it's some systolic type thing in some sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But all right, look, this is a general issue. I mean, both the dynamic aspect of this and, in the neural net case, we are right now, even as we speak, unpacking from this layer-based, graph-based thing to turn it into something more like a functional program.
I know.
Right? So, I mean, it's like what we need, what this is a kind of duality between the graph-based thing and the functional programming thing. And there's other places where we want to be able to display a functional program as a graph, right? And, we've just got this duality between these things. And I think we need a general way to deal with this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's more, BDDs are DAGs and so on. And we have other sort of DAG expression representations.
Right. Well, like a graph. I mean, the fact is we can't take a graph, which happens to be a DAG, and say, execute this. We have expression graph now, but we don't have graph. We have expression graph, which goes from an expression to a graph. We don't have go from a graph to an expression.
Right.
Do we? And maybe we should have.
No, I mean, we could. I mean, you can't do that with every graph, but you need something there to actually do. It's a particular application of graph. It's a particular style of network.
Right. Let's have a separate meeting about this, about the duality between graph languages and functional languages. Okay. And in terms of this filter graph thing, I think that needs to be in there. Okay.
Makes sense.
Honor is saying annotation is done via hover on buttons when the interaction loop pauses to allow observer to read details within an annotation. I see. Weird. All right. Okay. So this is something to do with animated GIFs, which I'm not familiar with in this case.
I'll look into it.
Right. Fine. Okay. What's next here? So we're still talking about conform video, and I'm trying to understand what it is. And explain to me what conform video properties was supposed to be.
The conform video properties is really going to be the analog of our conform images, conform audio.
Yeah.
And just to be safe, to not use a function name like conform video for something that is going to be doing something else or need to be doing something else. So we're just going to stick it into video context for 12.2.
All right, fine.
If somebody needs it, we can come back to what
fine.
conform video
right.
can or should do later.
Okay, fine. Okay, next. Video frame map. That's mapping frame by frame, right?
Mm-hmm. And this is going to be useful for, say, blending video 1 into video 2 once we get multiple video objects.
Right, or this thing about putting a watermark on the video or something.
That can already be done with a version that is in 12.1.
Okay. Oh, I see. But but without conformance, we can't get the frames to agree. Okay. Exactly. Video time series. So what is that doing? That's taking video with a known time, and it's saying at the 5-minute mark, put a big red blob on it. That type of thing. Is that correct?
No, it outputs non-video. It outputs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember what it is. Yes. Okay. Video map.
The idea is that the 12.2 update, if you scroll down to my tentative notes, is going to take into account audio or time as well. So you can do computations based on, it's kind of like map indexed version when time is included as well. And
so what was the thing before? It was just an F.
It was just the frames. It was just the the function F was just getting video frames, one at a time or n at a time. It's getting an association with.
But how can that be compatible?
With what?
With what it was doing before.
The one arc form, the slot is going to be the image.
Can we do that? Is that done lexically, or how does that work?
We can look at audio block map. I think that's doing the same thing.
But how does it work? Does it in terms of internally? How does it work? Is it? How does it know that it was given a slot? I mean, do you understand what I'm asking? Other than by lexical means.
I suspect it can't know unless it does a test.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Right.
This seems rather hokey to me. I mean, this is kind of like handler functions. What are you going to give me?
Oh, actually, yeah, now I remember. If you scroll down, I think we are suggesting something like a handler function keys to be included there as well. I don't have it here.
Well, I'd be okay with that. If you can use this as a heuristic with an automatic setting, but you can give it a handler function. I mean, it's not handler function, it's some other keys thing that needs to be given.
Yeah.
Now, what is the chunk of audio? How big a chunk?
Corresponding to 1 frame or n frames.
How do you specify the n?
As the third argument of the function.
Oh, I see. But
that's in a sense the
frame.
Duration, right?
No, I understand, but hash image is just a single image at a time, isn't it?
But if you have n, hash image is going to be a list of images, a list of n images.
Okay, but if you have no n specified there, how big is the audio chunk?
Corresponding the samples corresponding to 1 frame.
I see. So it's at 1/25th of a second or something like that.
Yeah.
Of audio.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So video map.
Now, time series is limiting in a sense that the result has to have matching dimensions all the way through. So if you ask for dominant colors of all frames, since one image may have, one frame may have 2 dominant colors, the other one could have 10, you cannot put them into a time series.
Oh, yes,
so
you
we
can.
kind of
Wait a minute. Yes, you can. The time series values should just be lists.
It can be double lists, but there's
you can put them in, it just won't work.
Well, I understand it won't work
time
as
series
in
fails.
No, I understand that time series.
So for instance, the signal processing functions from Shoddy, they don't know how to deal with varying dimensions.
No, I understand that point. I understand that point. Okay, but that's
okay.
But I
think even the construct returns a failure. If you say time series, yeah. If you have lists of varying
then it's
lengths,
wrong. Then it's wrong. It should be able to store that stuff, and some operations should be able to work on it.
Probably not. I mean, that's. I mean, if we want a very general object like that, it will be kind of not do very much, but we could build an object like that.
It was inconsistent with value dimensions arrow 1. Well, whatever. Okay. I mean, I know we're overhauling time series anyway, so I'm not sure. Oh, that's the new date formatting. That's nice. Except I thought we were making the time zone smaller. Can somebody make a note here? Time zone should be smaller and the period should be removed from the time zone.
Yep. Thanks.
So what's the issue here? So is this question?
It needs to be a vector space. If you want to.
All right. Okay. Fine. All right. I'm okay with that for the time being.
And now the question is that can we introduce a video map that returns a list of result instead of a time series of result?
Okay. What do we have in terms of audio? We don't have audio map, do we? What do we call?
We have audio local measurements, which gives a time series as well, which has the same limitation.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, video frame map. Video frame map maps a function over frames in the video, returning a list of results, doesn't it?
Returning a list of images, which goes into a new video. Video frame map is a video to video operation.
I see. So this is something where you want to get out a time series of what? I'm sorry, time series, a list of associations which have timestamps in them, or what comes out for the video? No, just the values of the function by frame by frame, but frame by frame, right?
Yes.
Maybe it should be called, I mean, the other thing is called video frame list, isn't it? The thing which gives a list of images from the video, right? It's called video frame list, correct?
Yes.
So why don't we call it video frame list map, which is the analog of finding video frame list for every frame and just saying map on that, which is what it is, right?
Are you going to remember which one is which? Video frame map, video frame list map?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, it's mapping onto a list of frames, as opposed to mapping onto the video, mapping onto the frames in the video. I don't like video map. I really don't like video map. Video map will be the one I would think would be video to video, because map, after all, just does its business inside an expression and returns the expression.
I still find our names, function names, a little confusing here. As you see, I have name. Well, all of them. Image, video frame list, video.
Okay, video frame list doesn't seem confusing to me.
That's not. Video extract frame is another one that's not confusing. No, mainly these 4 that we have here. And 2 of them are just proposed for 12.2. If you can sort these out.
Yeah, I understand. Great. I think video frame map is okay. I really don't mind video frameless map. What does video filter do?
That's also supposed to be a video to video, where you take into account audio, timestamp, subtitle track data as well.
Why on earth can't that be done in video frame map?
We could do it, just that video frame map sounds like a frame to frame. It sounds like it's just image input rather than image audio subtitle input.
And how does it get, is it getting that input the same way that video time series gets the input?
Yep.
Well, I have to say, I would have thought, Flip is suggesting video map. Look, I would suggest, if this is really the way you want to go, what is when you map onto a time series, what do we call it? We call it time series map, don't we?
Yes, I think.
I think it's called moving map, though.
We also have time series map.
Yeah.
Which maps onto a time series.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make a suggestion, okay? That this thing is strictly mapping onto individual frames. Video time series map does that. And maybe video map does your do everything and video filter thing, which can take, all the different hash pieces. And maybe we can get away.
Which one was video time series map?
The one that's currently called video time series.
Uh-huh.
And the one and video frame map would be one that specifically maps frame by frame. I'm not sure that we have to have, I think it's okay to have video frame map, even though it can, take fragments of audio as well, because I think it's okay to do that.
I see. I think because you're saying the unit of chunk is a frame.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay.
Now, I mean, returning a list. Okay, so the only other case is this is video to video. Okay, this returns a video, right?
Yes.
Video time series map returns a time series.
Yes.
Ugh.
I guess we could still call it video time series. If it's going to continue returning a time series.
Well, it is returning a time series. That's what it does.
Yep. And then we want a version that returns a list. I see. I like that.
Well, that would have to be the combination there. Video map, which I don't like very much. I think that's obscure. That returns a video. The video map list would return a list. See, we can't really call it video frame map, even though I would like to call it that, because otherwise we're going to end up with video frame map time series. Maybe we should end up with that. Maybe that's the least obscure thing to do. Video frame map time series.
Or maybe all video maps are on frames, chunks of time, chunks of frames.
No, but it bothers me because, I mean, we're not. How does it agree with other things like video replace or something? I guess that's okay with that. Let's see. Yeah, various people are saying that's a ridiculous mouthful, and they're right. Well, so your basic claim is video map. See, we've decided on video frame list. It's not called video list.
Yep.
And I like video frame list. I think it's clear what it does. Okay, so the proposal will be video map, time series, video map list, and video map. It's not terrible. Let's try going with that.
Okay.
Let's try going with that.
They all at least start from, it's a good family, video map family.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else we need to cover?
And video frame list, video frame map is going away.
It's going away. Then
Yep.
It becomes video map.
Yep.
Yeah, so just to be clear, I mean, we should be able to do video map time series of facial, of the face recognition thing. That should all just work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should return, but it's lists of different lengths again. But it depends what you return. You could return it as an image, I guess. See what I'm saying? I mean, look, let me give you an example. Date list plot. Let's say we want to get a picture that shows the faces in a video as a function of the time in the video.
Mm-hmm.
What's the minimum path to getting that? We're going to get each. I mean, there's a little bit of arbitrariness because you've got to see how you stack. I mean, that's an interesting visualization thing. Is, I'm sure date list plot. Well, that's really, it's complicated because it's going to involve intervals and things like this. We're not quite, I mean, it's going to require a little bit of code still. Okay, what's next here?
Video position and video intervals, kind of related to what you were going, where you can ask, you get back positions or intervals of interesting stuff in the video.
What's the analog? What's image position? What does it do? It returns pixel positions?
Yes.
Just raw pixel positions. So video position here, does it return times or frame counts, frame numbers?
Times.
Why? What else? How do I get a particular video frame extract?
Extract frames gets times as well by default. If you give it a number, it assumes it's a time in seconds, but you can also give it quantity, and video position is going to return back quantities as well. I guess it could do quantity array.
Probably should, but video position returning quantities is really weird. I mean, unless I can go and say video part extract or something like that, something or another, position bothers me there.
We need something that sort of says time event, like I think they call time codes often in video, but that's, we're not going to use that.
But Bob is asking, is the image recognition stuff available on Raspberry Pi? I think so. For robots, yeah, I think so. I think people use it there. I think they have done for some time, actually. Video frame apply. Ha, ha, ha. Bob suggests a dog food action, which is feed this video stream that we are making right now into Wolfram language and extract all the notebooks. Yeah, interesting test. I don't know. The image processing to do with extracting these rectangular regions would be interesting. Mm-hmm. Not undoable. All right. So anyway, I'm sorry. We're back to. Okay. So hold on. Video position. Right. What is it supposed to return again?
List of times.
Of the same kind used in the x coordinates of time series. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to take, so just so I understand, if I took video position as you currently call it, I think it should be something, say something about times in the name. I just don't think position is the right thing to call it. Well, okay, when you say video insert, what units are you using? How are you inserting? Is it by
again?
Yeah.
Any scalar provided to these functions as time is assumed to be in seconds.
How do I give it frames instead?
Quantity number comma frames, which is an independent unit.
Okay. Do we think that's okay? Have you tried using this?
Yep. It's okay. I don't know how else we could have done it. It's really useful to assume a scalar as the time because videos can have different frame rates. You don't want to constantly compute the number of frame you're interested in doing something with.
And also when people point something out in a video, they say, look at time code, blah, blah, blah.
Right. I'm going to have to run off here. We're almost done, but we're not quite. This requires a little bit more discussion, I think. I think that this position thing should be.
What do we call it for audio, Shadi?
Audio intervals we have.
But we don't have the event.
No.
I see.
I think we could do video time position or positions and video time intervals just to make it explicit.
I don't think
I think that wouldn't hurt. That wouldn't hurt us at all.
Okay, but I mean, okay, various people, Flip is mentioning that time code means generic times used in video, event lists or EDLs, edit decision lists, apparently, time codes with things attached.
Okay.
We should look up edit decision lists. Apparently there's some standardization of them. Also being suggested by IC is video region.
Which would be?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure which of these that would be. I mean, that's more like an extract video. What do we call it? Video frame extract.
Extract frames. Video extract frames.
I'd like to rethink of that particular one because, I mean, video intervals should be returning things that you can feed into video extract frames, right? Does it?
It returns beginning and end of any interval. Video extract frame, if you give it those 2 times, give you those 2 frames at the beginning and end of the interval.
We need to talk about this, okay? Can you lead that? Yeah, Flip is pointing out audio events and video events are interesting concepts. We don't yet understand those. We need to come back and look at this some more, and I unfortunately have to go. We're really close. We'll need one more, I think, iteration on this, but we're a lot of wonderful functionality. Do you agree? One more iteration here. I've probably got a few more things to pull together.
Yeah, I think so. One more, and it'll feel baked.
Okay, and I would like to next time. Let's just do one more pass on video generator and so on.
Okay.
Okay, excellent stuff. see you all. Thank you very much, people on the live stream. A lot of great comments.